Hi guys, welcome to Amy's Cooking. Today I would like to share a recipe that has a lot of fond memories for me. When I was going through my college years, there's a restaurant that's pretty close to our house, and they sell these amazing Vietnamese steamed rice rolls or Banh Cuon that I love so much. So I'm hoping to share this recipe with you as well. So for this recipe, we will be using tapioca starch, and we will also be using mostly rice flour. Now, this entire bag is about 16 ounces, and that comes out to approximately about 470-ish grams. We're going to use an entire bag of the rice flour, and mostly, it's made out of rice flour, but you can add a little bit of tapioca starch to it to give it a sense of a chewiness, and it just makes the Vietnamese steamed rice rolls taste a lot better. So for the tapioca starch, we will not be using too much. We're just going to be using 150 grams, which if you're using cups, it should be one whole cup, kind of loosely pour and overfilled a little. We're going to combine both of them, and we are going to add about 6 cups of water to this. So this is 1 liter that I have here. We're going to pour the entire thing in, and it should just be regular room temperature water. We're also going to add in an additional 400 mLs of room temperature water. So that totals out to 1400 mLs. Now I mentioned about 1500 ml. The other 100 mLs we're going to save until we are ready to cook the steamed rice rolls, and then if we're going to test it out and see how the batter is, and we can add in the other 100 if needed. Once you combine the water to the flour, give it a really good mix. You do want everything to fully dissolve. One is mixed, just add it to a closed lid container. It does need a lid on there, and we will be placing this into the refrigerator, and that should be kept in the refrigerator for 48 hours before you want to start using it. Now, the reason for us having to leave it in the refrigerator for this long is because that is what's going to help give you the chewiness texture of the Vietnamese steamed rice roll or Banh Cuon. Now, this is 12 hours into, you can see the batter kind of settles to the bottom and the water rises to the top. We are going to get rid of that layer, the water layer from the top. Now, we're not adding any kind of seasoning to this batter or anything at all, so it is going to taste very floury, and that's the reason why we want to change the water to get rid of that smell. I was able to remove about 700 mLs of water, and we're going to replace it with 700 mLs of new water and just add it back in. And you do want to repeat this step about 3 to 4 times, so every 12 hours or so would be excellent. You're going to get rid of all that flour smell. The steamed cake is going to taste very chewy. It's going to be very delicious if you follow this process. I know it is going to be a lot of timing and remembering to change out the water, but it is really essential for this recipe. Now, once you put in the new water, give it a good mix again, and then you're going to put the lid back on and then just place it back into the refrigerator. All right, remember we do need to do this a couple of times before you want to cook it. And every single time you change it out, it's about 12 hours apart. So here we are, the morning that I am getting ready to make the steamed rice rolls. You can see the water is very clear this time around. I've changed it already a couple of times. They have also separated, and I'm going to get rid of the water one last time before we make the rice rolls. So the water that we're replacing this during this last time is going to be a little different. So look here, it's about 700 mLs that we have pulled out. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace it with 350 mLs of cold water, and we are also going to add 350 mLs of boiling water. This is another extra step that you can do to help the texture of the rice rolls. Okay, so that cold and that hot combined is going to help the chewiness. So once you add that, give it a very quick mix, and let's just kind of let it rest, and we're going to prepare a couple things before we start steaming this. So the traditional way of steaming these rice rolls is over a cloth that is attached to a hot water bath. Now they sell these in sets. You can buy them. I have one, but I'm not using it today because I know a lot of us don't have it. So I'm just going to show you a quick way to make one at home on your own. All you really need is a large cotton fabric sheet and two large elastic fabric bands. What we're going to do is we're going to take these bands and we're going to tie it around the pot so that we can secure the fabric sheet. And the key thing to making this apparatus is tying these bands to it so tight that it will secure the fabric and stretch it to the point where when you tap on it, you can make a drumming sound. Okay, so that's key. If we're not able to do that and it's not tight enough and it's not securing that fabric, what's going to happen is when we start pouring the batter onto it, it's going to get wet, it's going to soak it, it's going to become more heavy in the middle, and the batter is going to pool in the middle, and it will not allow us to be able to spread the batter evenly onto the sheet and making it into little fine sheets of rice rolls. I've already tied one band. Here I am tying the other to the opposite side. Now if you want to take a look at the top of the pot, you will see that the cloth has been pulled and stretched, and it's very even on top. It's very nicely flattened and stretched. So that's really what you need there. So once you tie the other one, you want to pull the fabric to the sides and make it even tighter. Okay, the tighter you can get this, the better it's going to be, and when you tap on it, you will make a drumming sound. The last thing we're going to do is make a couple of cuts. We're going to make one large cut using a razor blade on one side. This will give a little opening for us to add additional water if we need to during the steaming process. We will also make 3 smaller cuts on the other 3 sides to help release more steam. Alright, we're going to make the filling for the steamed rice roll, which is really a combination of ground pork and dried wood ear mushrooms. These dry wood ear mushrooms do need to be soaked for about 30 minutes and then minced finely. We will also need some shallot, but only use half of it, save the other half. And the garlic, nicely minced. Well, again, only going to use half of it. We're also going to add a little bit of fish sauce and a little bit of sugar. Now we're going to combine everything, just give it a well mix so that the pork and the mushrooms and all its seasonings are well combined. And we're going to set it aside and let it rest for about 15 minutes. When it's ready to be fried, we're going to fry it on high heat. We're going to add that shallot and the garlic that we left over. And we're going to let it brown, and then we're going to pour in the ground pork. We're going to fry it until you no longer see any of the juice. And once it is completely dry, we're going to also season it a little bit more. Now this is really just the filling. You're going to eat it with a Vietnamese dipping sauce, so it doesn't have to be exactly to taste, but do add a little bit more sugar, a little bit of fish sauce, and also a little bit of salt, just so that when you bite into it, you do taste something and not just plain meat and mushroom. When it's ready, just put it in a bowl and set it aside until it's ready to be used. So what I have here is a plate that I am going to grease it with some oil. When I take out the steamed rice sheets, I'm going to put it onto this plate, and I don't want it to stick to the plate. We're going to set the stove on high heat, and we want to make sure that the steam is at full force before we start steaming. I did test out my batter a couple of times and it was a little thick, so I did have to add in the extra 100 ml of water. You can add anywhere between 100 to 200 mLs of water. Sometimes with leaving it in the refrigerator for 48 hours, I find that from one batch to the next it can be a little bit different, so just adjust as needed. Now, when it comes to removing the rice sheets from the cloth, you're going to need some sort of a stick to be able to slip underneath and pull up the rice sheet slowly. Now, that stick needs to be kept in water at all times. So once you pull the rice sheet off and you're done with it, just put it back into a container of water or a bottle of water and just make sure you soak it. That way, all the flours that stuck to it doesn't get hardened, and also that water that's on the stick when you go and you slip it underneath the rice sheet to pull it up, it's going to also help not stick to the stick. So as you can see here, just pull the rice sheet up really, really slow. Now, how thick or how thin the rice sheet's gonna come out really is going to depend on technique, which is gonna take a little while to get used to. So once you start making it, you'll get a feel for it. One other thing is you can see when you remove the lid, the rice sheet kind of flattens down and rests against the cloth. Just make sure that you let it rest there for about 15 to 20 seconds before you start removing your rice sheet. Otherwise, it's going to be really soggy and it's going to just fall apart. Now, how do you know when it's ready to remove it from the cloth? I will show you here. You will see that it bubbles, and when you remove it, the lid, it's gonna come and it's gonna flatten and settles onto the sheet, and that's when you know that it's ready. It usually takes anywhere between 45 seconds to maybe a minute. Just really depends on how thick you spread your batter or how thin you spread your batter. So what we're doing here is we are going to add the filling. So that ground pork and wood ear mushroom that we made earlier, we're just going to add a little bit of it to the middle of the rice sheet, and we will roll it or kind of fold it together and cover up the fillings. And there you have it. This is Vietnamese steamed rice rolls or Banh Cuon. You're gonna just make sure that you put a little bit of oil on both sides of the roll so that they don't stick together. So for the rest of the videos, I will not be narrating. I just wanted to add in a little bit of extra time of me doing this so you can kind of watch and see the techniques. Again, like I said, this was one of my favorite things to eat when I was going to college. It was really close by the house, that restaurant, which I'm very saddened that they are no longer open. But I would stop by here, I would grab some of this, I would take it to class with me and then just have it when I study for my tests or my exams or whatever it was. So every time I make this, it does bring back a lot of memories. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this video and give this recipe a try. I promise you, if you let it sit in the refrigerator for 48 hours or more before you use it, and if you do change the water out a couple of times, the rice rolls are going to come out super, super chewy. It's very, just has a very amazing texture to it. You do not taste any of that that smell, the flour smell. It just tastes really delicious. So trust me on this one. This is one of my favorite things to make. Okay, guys, I really appreciate you spending the time and watching this video. I hope that you will give this recipe a try. And if you do, please leave me a comment and let me know how it turned out for you. Any feedback you may have for me, I'm all ears. And until next time, please enjoy. Don't forget to give me a like and also subscribe. Thanks.